What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we got the kit reveal for the Great Mothers, and I'm pretty excited. Already went ahead and read through the kit. TLDR version of this it's looking really good for TW. Um, so spoilers, they have TW only, so Night Sisters finally are gonna have some TW love. But yeah, I read the kit and I'm pretty impressed. So let's go ahead and dive into it because it's a pretty interesting kit, and I kind of like the direction that CG's going with this. So hopefully, for future factions or future characters, they can kind of do similar things like this. All right, so the Great Mothers, their artwork was revealed in, I think, one of the fastest puzzles solved by this community in this game's, history. I think it was like 5 minutes or something like that, something ridiculous. But anyways, they have a lot of abilities. But I'm gonna break this down for you guys because at first when I read the kit, it was like I was so confused. But then once I started comparing it to what other Territory Wars teams do, I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. So obviously, Night Sisters, Dark Side, support leader. We're not going to go through all this stuff. I don't really think there's anything that adds here. Oh, you are going to need them from Balin's Skull, but they already said that. So they're changing the way they spell the word magic. Don't care. Let's get to the kit. All right, so they're basic. There's a Zeta on the basic too, so that's starting to become a thing now. Let's see. So deal special damage to target enemy. If that enemy was doomed, and we'll get to doomed later, so just keep that in mind. If they are doomed, inflict tenacity down for 2 turns, and then they lose 20% max health stacking until the end of the counter, which can't be evaded or resisted. Otherwise, inflict ability block, speed down for 2 turns. So here's something that's already super interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, and then there's a little bit more. If they were blessed, that's going to be a buff, by the way. Doom is going to be a debuff. Blessed is going to be a buff. We'll get to it at the end of the kit. All allies, blessed allies, no, blessed allies gain foresight for 2 turns, and non-tank blessed allies stealth for 1 turn. First special. This ability looks super cool, by the way. I'm very impressed with the way they got their little capes or robes or sashes, whatever you want to call them, to like move like that. I think like the tornado effects looks really cool, but the fact that they just have the wind going crazy, I think that looks really clean. Obviously I always say this, credit where credit is due, and the animation team has definitely been stepping up over the past couple of years, but I think this looks really cool. I mean, the screen shaking just slightly too. It's really cool. A lot of attention to detail on this ability. Anyways, what does it do? So another Zeta on their first special, cooldown of 3. If the enemy leader is light side, dispel all debuffs on all Night Sister allies, dispel all buffs from all enemies, and doomed enemies are inflicted with vulnerable for 2 turns. Deal special damage 3 times to all enemies. If this attack defeats an enemy, all Night Sister allies gain defense pen up for 2 turns. Okay, so pretty interesting there. So we're going to dispel all of our debuffs, so that's great. Dispel all buffs from all enemies, and doomed enemies are inflicted with vulnerable. So the doomed enemies, again, it's going to be a debuff. I'll go into it. They're going to get vulnerable. This team kind of seems like it's going to be focus firing whoever is doomed. Whoever is doomed, we go for them, and then we go for the next person. The old ways, Omicron, unique 1. Night Sister allies gain 30% accuracy, max health, tenacity, but cannot be revived. So similar to Morgan Elsbeth, and that's fine. That's why I really like this. Okay, so here's the thing. A little history about me. I hate Night Sisters because I don't know how many GCs I've lost because it's like I get down to 1 and then they're all back. I love this Night Sister team because they don't come back. You kill them, they're gone. So I like that you kind of have the the revived zombie team with Daka and Talzin, and then you have a separate team over here, which is kind of nice. This effect persists through death. So that means if for whatever reason you're able to kill the Great Mothers, units still cannot be revived under their leadership. At the start of the encounter, and whenever an attacker, Night Sister ally, or Great Mother is critically hit, attacker Night Sister allies gain foresight and stealth for 2 turns, limit once per turn. That's really good. So that's going to really synergize with Spirit getting foresight, because anytime Spirit has foresight, I believe she just ignores defense or has like extra offense or something like that. So anyways, you want foresight on Spirit. Acolyte, I believe, is the one that you want stealth on, because when she's stealth, she just has, I think, 100% extra offense or 50%. It's something crazy. She just hits harder when she's stealth. Whenever an enemy is critically hit, Great Mothers and all blessed allies gain 1% offense stacking for 2 turns and recover 2% protection. doubled if the enemy had vulnerable. Okay, so going over, already talking about offense stacking. 1% may not seem like a whole lot, but when you're rocking like R7, R8, even R9 Night Sisters, the 1% can go quite a bit, especially when you're looking at Datacrons and, you know, really well-crafted mods. Whenever a vulnerable enemy starts its turn, all Night Sister allies gain foresight for 2 turns. That's also really good, so it's gonna be really hard to hit this team. And all non-tank Night Sister allies gain stealth for 1 turn. So essentially it sounds like everyone's gonna be stealth except for Morgan, and well, everyone else is gonna have foresight, so it's gonna be really tough to like take out the other teams, because the members of the team, because you have to remember, like, Acolyte and Spirit, like, once you get a hold of them, they're very squishy. So I like how defensive this team is. Whenever a doomed enemy gains turn meter, blessed allies gain 25% turn meter limit once per doomed enemy's turn. So again, don't worry, we'll talk about the doom and blessed in a second. While in Territory Wars, here we go. And here's what's interesting, guys. We got double Omis on this marquee, which is kind of cool. I was kind of curious. I was hoping, because it was a special you know character with a large unit, it's 3 Great Mothers. I was hoping to get 3 Omis, but I'll take 2. But that's kind of cool. I like the direction that they're going with this, where, you know, it's a marquee unit, but it's a little bit stronger than your typical marquee unit. And I think a lot of that has to do with Conquest. If you look at Conquest lately, guys, it's just been GAC Omi, GAC Omi, GAC Omi. I mean, like, I think the last the last non-GAC character we got out of Conquest was Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. So I mean, it's Bane, Queen Amidala, Luthen, and now we're going to Ezra. So I mean, that's a whole year of no TW units, and even the legendary units. We got Bo-Katan, we got Jar Jar. So a bunch of just GAC Omis kind of had flooded the board. We've had a couple of good DW ones, but it's been pretty much GSC focused this year. While in TW, vulnerable enemies, whenever vulnerable enemies critically hit, Great Mothers and Blessed allies gain 5% turn meter. The first time any other Night Sister ally is reduced to 1 health. This is where you have to apply this Omi, alright? So we talked about how, like, this team cannot revive. This is your way around that. So it looks like we're just going to get a savior. The first time any other Night Sister ally is reduced to 1% health. I'm not sure if this means the first time any other Night Sister ally. So I guess this means for the rest of the team, and it's not just a one-off. Dispel all debuffs on themselves. Gain Blessed for 2 turns if they didn't already have it. Which can't be copied, dispelled, prevented, and damage immunity for 1 turn, which can be copied. Okay, so the damage immunity can be cleansed, but the Blessed is there for 2 turns. They recover all their health and protection, reset their cooldowns, which is cool. A nice little soft reset. They are defeated when Blessed is removed. If they were already Blessed, they have 200% health steal and gain 20% defense and offense. Okay. Oh, there it is. This effect can only happen once per battle. Okay, so essentially, whoever we're giving Blessed to, we want to make sure... Wait, hold on. No, this happens on anybody. Yeah, so this happens on anybody. This has nothing to do with Blessed. If they're Blessed, they get the extra health, steal, defense, and offense. Interesting. So, we'll see. I mean, I kind of want Spirit to get this, because Spirit can just do some insane damage, right? But yeah, so basically, when someone is about to die... they get 2 more turns of life, I guess, because once the Blessed goes away, then they just die. Okay, simple enough. So it's like a delayed savior, I suppose. Okay, here's the leadership. This is where things get really spicy. Threads of Destiny, and we have our second Omi here, right? So 1 Omi, 2 Omis. Yeah, it's just the 2, right? Yeah, I'm not going crazy. Okay. Anyways, Night Sister allies gain 30% defense, max health, and speed if all allies are Night Sister at the start of the battle. At the start of each encounter... Okay, now, I want to pause real quick, because this is a very deceptive leadership. This looks like the longest leadership in history. It really isn't. There's some granted abilities in here, and there's also the Omicron. So, we'll read this together, I'll break it down, and it'll make... trust me, it will make sense. It's just... I don't know why they stuck everything together like this. So at the start of encounter, if there are no enemies inflicted with Doom, Great Mothers dispel ability block from themselves, gain the granted abilities Fate Weaving, and take a bonus turn. During this turn, Great Mothers can only use Fate Weaving. So essentially, think of Wat Tambor. Think of Wat Tambor taking a bonus turn, but he can only apply 1 tech, okay? They cannot use Fate Weaving 2 times in a row if the enemy leader... is light side, dispel stealth, and ignore taunt effects while using Fate Weaving. If all allies are Night Sister at the start of the battle, At the end of each turn, if there are no other allies with blessed, Great Mothers remove ability block from themselves. Gains the granted ability Gift of Shadows and takes a bonus turn. Okay. Why does it say at the start of the battle at the end of each turn? Okay. During this bonus turn, Great Mothers can only use Gift of Shadows. Doomed enemies can always be targeted by blessed allies and Great Mothers. So let's take a look at those abilities. The way I've read this, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not, she's gonna get 2 bonus turns. Essentially, think of it like Wattam, where we're gonna get Fate Weaving first, and then we're gonna get Gift of Shadows. Fate Weaving is right here. So target enemy is inflicted with a damage over time for 1 turn, and doomed for the rest of the encounter, which can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted. So essentially, we're throwing a debuff on them at the start of the battle. And then doomed is protection is disabled, can't stealth, lose 20% max health when this character ends their turn until the end of the counter. Can't be revived. Raid bosses and GL Legends minus 5% defense. Okay, so there's your GL exclusion from the basic ability. But I don't know if that counts towards the basic, right? Like if we go here, if the target enemy is doomed, they lose 20% max health stack until the encounter. Maybe it's only 5% defense. It's not specific. It doesn't have that same clause in the basic, but it probably is just minus 5% defense. So we'll just say that. And they can't revive, which is nice. Gift of Shadows. Target other Night Sister ally gains bless for the rest of the encounter until defeated, which can be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Blessed is 20% max health, offense, immune to instant defeat effects, which is kind of cool. Stun and turn meter reduction, which is really just like, this is going to be your main threat on the team, whoever you give it to. Assist whenever other Night Sister allies use a basic ability on their turn, or sorry, special ability on their turn, dealing 40% less damage. That is super, super cool. So I'm not sure. I'm already thinking Morgan Elsbeth, but I'm not sure who we're going to give it to. And then here's the Omicron. While in Territory Wars, Night Sister allies gain 30% defense, max health, 20 speed. So just more stats, so it's already just good. Great Mothers are gain instant defeat immunity while blessed allies active. So that's huge, because obviously you kill Great Mothers and then the whole team just kind of like falls apart, right? Doomed enemies have minus 30% defense and offense. Doesn't say minus GLs, so that's kind of cool. Whenever a doomed enemy is defeated, all enemies are inflicted with fear for 1 turn. That's super, super cool. I really like that. So anyways, so let's go look at the granted abilities. So Fate Weaving, this is the same thing we just read. Literally the same thing, so don't think it's like even more text. So yeah, so essentially you're going to be doing this first. This is going to be like your first turn, your first bonus turn, I should say. Before the battle starts, you're going to doom somebody, and then the way I read it is we're going to buff somebody in our team. And then the battle can begin, essentially. So it's super wordy, but that's the way I interpreted it. So hopefully this makes sense now, because it is a very wordy kit. But I like it, guys. I think it's really good. And what this kit kind of reminds me of, it reminds me of Trench. There's a lot of things that this kit does that really reminds me of how Trench acts in TW. Now the only difference here, the biggest difference, is the question of how are they going to be able to get to that Trench level of damage in Territory Wars? Because Territory Wars, Trench's damage is insane. The whole team just... I wish they were like that in GAC, but they're not. And I have a feeling they're going to be they're going to be pretty good. So let's go in game real quick. I want to look at a couple options of how we're going to build this team, and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so I know the Great Mothers are not in the game yet, but I'm just using Jabba as a substitute as a large unit. So obviously we're going to go with Acolyte, definitely go with Night Sister Spirit, and Morgan Elsbeth. In terms of a 5th, it's either going to be Talia or Initiate. And I kind of think it's going to be more Initiate versus Talia. I think Talia is a good kit. You know, the turn meter and the dispel and the buffs is nice, but I think Initiate can capitalize on a lot of the damage. I think just having an extra damage, buff immunity, giving allies crit chance up. I think this, the fact that she's just a damage dealer, I think is what we need on this team, because Great Mothers are support. We have attacker, tank, attacker, attacker. So I think that's kind of what we want. I think we want the 3 attackers, 1 support, 1 tank on this team. I don't think we really need Talia. I could be wrong, but I think this is the team we're going with. And in terms of who we're gonna bless, I really like Morgan's basic. I really do. Inflict the target enemy vulnerable from. I mean, that's just kind of what we want, right? Um, I think we bless Morgan Elsbeth just like they do in the show, and we kind of go from there. The other one I was also thinking is Night Sister's Spirit. Having Night Sister's Spirit assist a lot will be really cool because she removes turn meter, inflicts speed down, and then you gain turn meter equal to the amount removed. So she's always going to be removing turn meter, right? She's going to be assisting anytime Night Sisters do a special ability. She's going to be removing turn meter. They're all going to be gaining turn meter, and then she's going to be gaining the turn meter that she's removing, so she can just take a million turns, right? I think that's your other option. Now, the big question is, talking about how it's comparable to Trench, I don't know how the AI is going to target. Like, who's doomed and who gets blessed. That is kind of what we're waiting on. But I think either way, this is going to be a very good defensive, viable TW team. It will probably can be used on offense in some instances, but I think for the most part, this is going to be on defense quite a bit. So I hope that it's random. I hope there's some. I hope there's like a different code for like Watt, because that's what's so good about Trench in TW is, and GAC, I guess, sometimes depending on the meta. But Watt's tank tech, weapon tech, the fight changes depending on who gets it. If Django gets that tank tech, oh boy, it's a nightmare of a fight. If Trench gets it, it's a different fight. Sometimes Dooku can get it, and it's like, oh god, that one Dooku is so annoying, you can't kill him. So it really changes on how you have to play the fight. I think for most like elite like guilds towards the top, they've kind of cracked the code on how to just, it doesn't matter where it goes, but just stay on your toes. So I'm hoping it's going to be like that. I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit more random in terms of who's doomed and who gets blessed. I think that'll be kind of cool because, like I said, we have options. I wouldn't mind having Morgan blessed, Spirit blessed. Let's take a look at the other basics here too. What are our other options? Gain stealth. If you're stealth, do double damage. I mean, so ideally, I don't think inflicting damage over time and critically hit, I don't think there's a wrong way to go about this. So I think obviously Initiate's going to be like the lesser choice in terms of a character you want blessed, but for the most part, I like it. I'm really excited for it. I have one Omi saved up right now. I haven't done Death Trooper Purdy yet, just because this is going to be primarily like 90% of the time an offense team. It's not going to be very good on defense. There's a lot of things that kind of hard counter it already. I'm not saying it's a bad team. I think it's a great team. I think it's a really fun team, but it's going to primarily be offense. And obviously, I haven't even talked about the question of mix and matching this team. I mean, we can just, we can go plop, plop, and now we got a triple Omi TW team. Obviously, just like Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, we're going to lose all this. We're going to lose some of it, right? I think we lose some of it. Yeah, right here. Wait, if the ally leader is not an Imperial Remnant tank whenever Imperial... Oh, yeah, no, this is not going to apply to us at all because... it might work. I mean, who knows? Maybe you do this. Maybe you do something like this, and that's your team. You have this super mix-mash team. But like I said, I'm not going to fry my brain thinking about that right now. But for the most part, guys, it's a good kit. I'm really excited for it. I know there's a lot going on in the game right now. People are farming their raid teams. People are farming for GL Ahsoka. People are farming for Baylan Skoll on top of your normal farms. So it's going to be really tough. I'm hoping I can nudge my guild to get this team up and running because I think it's going to be very good on defense. Obviously, I didn't buy the Lightspeed bundle, so hopefully you guys' Night Sisters look better than mine. But I'm excited for the team. It's going to be cool. I think it's a really good kit. And it's a marquee, so we don't have to wait 3 months to get the units. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. It's a little bit lengthy, but I just wanted to kind of break down the new Great Mother's kit and kind of just explain how I interpret it's going to work. And I think, like I said, it's going to be really good in TW, guys. It really seems like it's going to be good. And obviously, I think you can do both Omis. I don't think you can, like, skip out on leadership or skip out on the unique. But other than that, guys, take care. Have a good one. And I'll catch you next time.